This is a Season 14 review on the Road to Glory save with Aveley Football Club, and I'm still really annoyed that we've not got a new stadium, but we do have a second consecutive season of Champions League football and we need to make some improvements in our squad. So let's go and have a look to see what we can do and how the season goes on. Right, here we go then. Leave a like on the video, folks. Subscribe to the channel. Always appreciated. Let's get into transfers that have already happened. There's not really been a great deal. We have had Rene Rasmussen has left us for 21.5 million to Arsenal. It was his release clause. We couldn't do anything about it. We tried getting him to sign a new contract where we could up the release clause. They've got an absolute bargain in Rene Rasmussen. He was fantastic for us. 7.22, 7.14 in the 2 seasons he spent here. But look, we signed him for £190,000. We sold him for 21.5 million 2 years later. That's the kind of business that we need to be doing as a club, unfortunately. We have brought in Fabio Nunes from Nacional for 4.8 million. He's a left back. He's 3.5 stars as a wing back. He can be 4 stars if we play him a little bit forward as a complete wing back. But he's got decent pace, great acceleration, great agility, balance, decisions, determinations, work rate, really good teamwork. He can pass the ball, he can cross the ball. He's going to be our first choice left back in the attacking role. I did say towards the end of the last video that I want to improve on our fullbacks, and that's certainly an improvement that we've done. If we go and have a look at what is our best 11, basically, yeah, Fabio Nunes slots in here. Joe Hobbs is missing from here because we're going to be selling him shortly. I'll get to that in a moment. We do need a backup goalkeeper, and I would like to get somebody else as right back. Once I identify someone, then someone like Mbemba or Leroy Arias or Sam Curtis, someone like that, will end up leaving the club. But until we actually identify that person, then we've got no point bringing people in, because if we have a look at our squad, we've got a squad there of 26 people. Like I say, Joe Hobbs will be leaving. If we filter it by age, because obviously in the Champions League, under 21s, once they've been at your club for 2 years or more, don't have to be registered. None of our under 21s, other than Daniel White, qualifies for that. So if you say Daniel White doesn't have to be registered, then that means we've got 25 in our squad. Joe Hobbs goes, that'll be 24. I need to buy a backup goalkeeper. So that will take us back up to the 25 we were allowed for the Champions League, which means we're in a position where we can't bring anyone in unless we sell somebody, because otherwise we're going to be making people unhappy. We also don't have a great deal in terms of what's homegrown at the club. We've got 2 homegrown at club and a few more, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that are homegrown at Nation, which in actual fact means we can only register a squad of 23. So the likes of Steve Hunt will probably be left out. We probably need to move somebody else on. It's an absolute nightmare, it really is, because we need these players. And unfortunately, I think Sam Curtis, who is contracted to us for another couple of years, he's 30 years old now. We probably do need to look at moving him on. So we'll ask the agent. He's going to say there's no interest in him. There's nothing you can do. The intermediaries won't do anything either. Oh, hang on. What is this coming up? We've used intermediaries many times. Go away. Okay, so the intermediaries might be able to bring us something. So we'll just go with Mr. João Pedro and get potentially a higher fee. Actually, no, we're going to go with Andrea Carrara, because it's a very similar fee and he wants less for an intermediary fee. So we'll go with him and see what he can bring us for Sam Curtis. And then once he's gone, yeah, we're in a position where if we sell someone, we bring someone in. So with Sam Curtis gone, I'll probably be looking at Leroy Arias probably being the one that will leave, because Gaicho Mbemba does have a bit more potential. He's not quite the 5-star that he was when he first came here. But yeah, we'll see what we can do and what we can bring in, all that sort of stuff. And I'll bring you back when we have more information on that. Before we do cut to that though, if we have a look at season preview, we're meant to finish second bottom. We're always around this area anyway. It's just a bonus that we're not bottom, basically. So we're expected to be second bottom. No surprise there. If we look at the finances, the club is absolutely loaded. 115.2 million in the bank. We've got 85 million in the transfer budget. Why they're only letting me have 60% of the transfer revenue, I don't know. We've got about 220,000, 230,000 to spend in the wage budget. Staffing is looking really good. I mean, look at how staffing. It's only the man management side of it that we're probably second on that. Yeah, we're second behind Chelsea. In terms of, we've still got 6 scouts we can bring in. We need to get in a technical director and a chief scout. And we've got a couple of physios we can bring in as well, which will shoot that up. So I'll show you that towards the beginning of the season before we end part 1. And I'll see if there's anything that's going to happen in the transfer market. Although I suspect all we're really going to be doing is staff recruitment rather than player recruitment. But let's see what happens. So if you've been watching the Bottoms Up series with Crystal Palace, you'll know that a little while back, England offered me a job and I had to turn it down because there's no way I can do a daily series managing an international team. And now we've had offers from France, want me for £78,000 a week. Italy want me for £87,000 a week. Portugal want me for £48,000 a week. And Brazil want me for £58,000 a week. Obviously, we are turning down all of these because we are Aveley, we are a one club save. But I'm assuming there must have been a World Cup this year and these nations never had a particularly good World Cup. If we look at my profile, I'm a 5-star reputation manager. I mean, that is incredible. I had no idea that I was actually that well thought of within the game. But yeah, I mean, if this was bottoms up, the aim is to be the highest reputation manager to win the Premier League, Champions League, all that sort of stuff. We've achieved that side of it in the road to glory so bravely after 14 seasons. So yeah, just thought I'd bring you back to show you that. While we're here, we'll show you some transfer business. We have brought in Cesar Segura from Atletico Madrid for £10.5 million. He's a backup goalkeeper. He's actually pretty decent. I mean, he's 2-star current ability with 4-star potential. 22 years old. If we look at his contract, there's no minimum fee release clause in there, which is lovely to see. And what we'll do is we'll just do a quick comparison with Fernandez, our current goalkeeper. And Fernandez is better than him in every sense, nearly. I mean, there's a couple like distribution and physical and communication that's the same. But they are pretty decent figures. I mean, when you look at that as a backup goalkeeper, I would say when Fernandez is injured or away on international duty or whatever, we've got a very decent backup in Segura, so I am really happy with that. If we go back to the transfer centre, there is another player we're looking at bringing in, Will Nederson Capacho. Yep. He was given a B- by our scouts, and I've looked at the fact that as a wing back, he's on the right side, he's 3 stars, and he can play left back as well, only a half-a-star drop. But I love the fact that he's got 15 for crossing. That's really decent crossing. He's got reasonable pace and acceleration. He can tackle. He's very brave. He's got good teamwork. He's well balanced. And yeah, he's waiting on a work permit. He will come in as a first choice right back. And I just think that will give us a decent amount of ability at crossing the ball into a box and all that sort of stuff. So I'm pretty happy with him. And the fact that he can play both sides as well is very handy. We did have an offer come through for Leroy Arias, but they wanted him on loan with an optional fee. I turned it down because I don't want an optional fee. I want a mandatory fee. I don't mind him going out on loan if it's a mandatory fee, but I'm not interested in in an optional one. So that's where we are at the moment. It's the 20th of July. I don't think I've actually shown you the schedule. So we start the season off with a game at home against Brighton, away to Wolves, at home to Leicester, away to Aston Villa, at home to Brentford. Then we have Newcastle, Tottenham, Bournemouth, Stoke, Man City after. We've got a pretty decent start to the season, actually. Brighton will be a tough one because they are a good team in this game. But that's a pretty decent start, to be quite honest. We do get it a bit tough when we get down to December. We've got West Ham, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, all in December. We had a terrible December, I think it was last year. Where's December? It weren't terrible, to be fair. No, it's more down here that we had. It was March that we had a terrible time last season. But yeah, it's going to be a big December. We're probably going to have Champions League games in there as well. There's a lot of games to play in December. In terms of how we end the season, the final 5 games. I mean, we don't want to be relying on anything coming our final 5 games. We've got Chelsea at home, Man United away, Liverpool at home, Sunderland away, Arsenal at home. So, and West Ham there as well. So our final 6 games, if we're relying on results in our final 6 games, we could struggle. But yeah, let's see how we get on with the rest of the transfer window. I'll bring you back when we're about to start the season. Okay, so Carpaccio is in. He came in for 7 million. Will Nederson Carpaccio from Juventus. In terms of players going out, Baluk, McNamara went out on free transfers. Ballinger has gone on loan to Leyton Orient. Sam Curtis has gone to Empoli for 6.5 million. Joe Hobbs has gone to West Ham for 22, potentially rising to 24 million. And Leroy Arias has gone on loan to Dundee. The aim there is they've got him as an important player. So hopefully he plays plenty of games for Dundee, and when he comes back at the end of this coming season, he'd have had plenty of games, played well, someone will be interested in him, and we can move him on next season for a profit, because he is actually contracted to us for another 4 years. So hopefully that works out the way we want it to. So 28.5 million coming in from transfers, 17.5 going out. My wonderful mathematician skills tell me that's a profit of 11 million. If we go back to what happened at the end of last season, Nunes coming in for 4.8, let's say 5, so that's a profit of 6. Rene Rasmussen going out for 21.5, that's a profit of 27.5 million pounds that we've made this season, this summer. So altogether, when you look at the finances, 111 million in the bank, we are loaded. 80 million in the transfer budget, 240 million in the wage budget still to spend. We've got the money. There's no, even with only 6,000 seater capacity stadium, I'm really still not happy about that. We have got the money for it. In terms of our facilities, we have gone up in our youth recruitment. I asked to improve that. They did. So we've gone from average to above average youth recruitment. I did ask them to do the youth facilities, but they wouldn't. So we're still adequate youth facilities in that. So we just have to keep trying to raise all of that so that we get a decent youth recruitment, youth intake really. So that's what our staffing looks like. That's what the finances look like. In terms of dynamics, cohesion's good. Club atmosphere is very good. Managerial support is excellent. No issues down here either. If we have a look at our hierarchy, Pratt, Bedoya and Todd are our team leaders. And then we've got our influentials and our very influentials. If we have a look at how we're going to line up when we're fully fit, I mean, Carpaccio's already got an injury, he's out for 5 to 10 days. Miguel Neto's going to miss the game against Brighton and a few other games. He's out for up to 2 weeks. Tanguy Trove is away on Olympic duty. So that's what we would look like with everyone here in terms of going into the first game against Brighton, which in-game is today, 9th of August. I mean, we're starting to struggle, to be quite honest. It's we bring Mutenguru in. We will do that. I mean, Bruce Pratt does prefer to be in that position. He is injured, so we're struggling already. I mean, it's going to be the first game of the season and we're struggling to fill the bench already. Neil Lovell can come in here. There's really nobody else to bring in. We are so light on the ground, we really are. Pratt's going to be on the bench when he's not really fit to be. We can bring Todd onto the bench. Actually, we'll bring Van Kara because we need someone that can play on the left as well. Then we've got to replace up here, so Huggins can go in there. So yeah, that's the team we're going to line up with on the first game of the season against Brighton. And I will see you in part 2 to see whereabouts we are in the league on the 1st of January. What a first half of the season we've had, boys and girls, and this is the table. We are currently sitting 3rd with Man United in second, Newcastle top, and West Ham keeping up their good form from last season. They're in fourth position. Liverpool fifth, Chelsea sixth, Man City all the way down in seventh position, 13 points off the top. Tottenham in eighth. The big story though, Arsenal down in 15th position on 19 points. They're 30 points off the top of the league, and at the moment they're only 4 points away from the relegation zone, so they are in trouble at the moment. But Newcastle have been good. They've been flying. The only game they drew was against West Ham in a 0-0 draw at St James's Park. And the 4 games they lost were against Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United and Tottenham. So there you are. In terms of what we've done, we've had 5 draws and 3 defeats. So 5 draws. We've had 1 at home, which was against Manchester United, and the 4 away ones against Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Aston Villa. A lot of those have come very recently in the month of December. 3 defeats. We've had 1 at home to West Ham, and then we've lost away from home against Manchester City and Newcastle. 20 games into the season for most teams is the 4th of January, so we are a little bit later than normal. However, I do want to show you the transfers that's happened, because we had a mad transfer deadline day in September, 1st of September. If we have a look at it, in terms of the outs, Everton on transfer deadline day decided to activate the release clauses of 2 of my centre-backs, ZLATAN Zelikovic, who wasn't a first teamer, but Rifat Goncharov, who had started all of the games for us, like 4 games. Activated the £19 million release clause first of all in Zelikovic. As a response to that, we went and we spent big. Noah Nicholson from Everton for 85 million, rising to 120 million. We'll show you him now. He is a beast. Look at that. 4.5 stars, 22-year-old, 14 caps and 1 goal for England. He's played 149 times for Everton. He's made 16 appearances for us so far. He's cup-tied in the Carabao Cup. He's 2-footed. He is a beast. He is immense. He can play the libero role, the wide centre-back, central defender. No, he can do whatever he wants in that central midfield area. And the reason why I was panicking was because we only had 3 centre-backs anyway going into the regular season. We couldn't bring anyone else in because of squad registration rules and all this sort of stuff. So, of course, when they come in for Zelikovic for 19 million, I'm like, oh, my God, I need to go and find a replacement. And then when I saw him, I was like, okay, they want to take my centre-back, I'll take theirs. And just as we signed him on transfer deadline day, they then went and matched the minimum fee release clause for Rifat Goncharov. And I'm like, what are Everton doing to me? They're just trying to take all my centre-backs. So I then went out and got Bruno Carvalho for 16.25 million. It was a release clause he had in his contract. 3-star current ability, 4-star potential, 21-year-old Portuguese under 21 international. 6'6", by the way. Great jumping reach. Can't head for toffee, but he can jump at least. He can also tackle. He's very determined. He's brave. He's got good balance. He seems like a really decent player. He has been a regular for us. 14 starts, 1 substitute appearance, 1 goal on a 6.99 in the league. Can't fault him. He has been immense. So, yeah, that was a rather hectic transfer deadline day. But, folks, we've got a £100 million plus central defender. I mean, that is crazy. If we now go and have a look at the schedule, I said to you about we had a pretty kind-looking start to the season, and so it was with Brighton, Wolves and Leicester. We got wins against all of those before then drawing away against Aston Villa. We then had Hartlepool in the Carabao Cup, and as you can see from the team, we did rest a few players, bringing in Pratt, Motengura, McCausland, Ewan Todd, Leighton Alexandra, Adam Bartlett. Rotated a few of the players round. 6-3 win in that game. Then we beat Brentford. Then we played Servette away from home in the Champions League. 5-1 win against Servette. Followed up by a 2-1 win away from home again against Celtic. We then played Tottenham in the league and beat them 2-1. We lost 2-0 to Newcastle. Before then, an away game against Brentford that we won 4-2. Bournemouth we won 2-1. And then we had Bayern Munich. This game was played at Stamford Bridge and we sold Stamford Bridge out. Bayern beat us 1-0 unfortunately. Then back to the Parkside, back to our 6,000 capacity. We won 2-0 against Stoke. We then, in the Carabao Cup 4th round away from home, beat Charlton 6-1. We then beat Man City 3-0 in the league before drawing 2-2 away from home against Rennes in the Champions League. Beating Everton 3-0 at home, then drawing 1-1 with Liverpool. We then went and played Salzburg at home, but we was at Parkside for this game. Won 3-0. We didn't even sell out Parkside for that game, which I think is quite poor. Then we had Bristol City away from home where we won 1-0. Then West Ham, we lost 1-0. A 1-1 draw with Chelsea, followed by another Champions League game, this time against Crvena Zvezda. That's probably not how you say it. This was at home at Parkside. Again, we didn't sell it out. That was a 5-1 win. Then a 2-2 draw against Manchester United before beating Wolves in the Carabao Cup quarter-final 5-0. That was such a great performance from us. We then won 2-1 against Sunderland, a 1-1 draw against Arsenal, which at the time I weren't aware of where they were in the league. It was only during the game that I realised where they were. I'm actually quite disappointed with a 1-1 draw. Then we played Wolves, won 1-0. I was meant to come back before that game for this video, but I got a bit carried away with myself because I've been really enjoying this season. So in terms of the Champions League, we currently sit second in the group stage of the Champions League. I mean, how amazing is that? How incredible is that? Rennes, who at first I was disappointed with a draw against them. I'm actually quite happy with it. West Ham are up there as well. Bayern Munich, by the way, they are all the way down here in 26th position. We lost 1-0 to Bayern Munich, but we have also played Servette, Crvena Zvezda and Celtic are all down here as well. We've had a pretty kind Champions League draw, to be honest. But yeah, we're only 1 point in the green zone, but with games against AC Milan, I think is one of them. Yeah, AC Milan and Atletico Madrid. If we go back and have a look in here, AC Milan are in 8th. Atletico Madrid are in 12th. I don't think we're going to finish in the green area, but if we do, amazing. We could be getting through to the knockout stage of the Champions League yet again. In the Carabao Cup, we face Manchester City in the semi-final. Bournemouth have just knocked out Liverpool. They play Aston Villa. So you're probably going to say whoever wins the game between us and Manchester City is probably going to win the Carabao Cup. It is a two-legged affair, of course, and if we go to the past winners, there we are there. Runners-up that year, past winners there. We weren't in the final last year, but we could be in it again this year. And that is probably as much as I need to bring you up to speed on. What I do want to show you is if we look at the player stats for the Champions League, Lorenzo Spirito Santo, with 8 goals in 6 appearances, is a top goal scorer in the Champions League. If we look at the Premier League, I don't know who is the top goal scorer on here, by the way. It's not our guy, put it that way. He's not even in the top 3. Erling Haaland is a mile ahead of anybody else with 23 goals. And where is Espirito Santo? Oh, that's appearances. See, this is fudging again because it's not telling me how many goals they're getting. Can we click on goals? There we go. So Espirito Santo's joint 4th. He's got 14 goals from 18 appearances. But obviously, if we look at his actual figures in total, he's also got 4 Player of the Match awards. He's having an amazing season again. 33 goals for us in 50 games. I think that's pretty special for someone that we spent £6 million on. Who I also want to show you just quickly as well before we do move on is Jörg Lorenzi. He's been pretty good this season as well. It says 6.94 there. He's 7.11 overall. 6 goals, 2 assists from 20 appearances. He's been a real creative force for us in the centre of the midfield. He is a wonder kid. He is amazing. I do love him. And yeah, everything is just going really, really splendidly well right now. We've got this left to play. We might have some more FA Cup matches if once we get past Stockport. And yeah, I'll see you in part 3 to see just how the season finishes. Oh my God, would you look at that final Premier League table? We've come so close. We finished joint top on points with West Ham on 79 points. They've got a better goal difference by +6. They've got a goal difference of 35 compared to our 29. And I can't believe we've come that close. I'm heartbroken that we've not been able to just get one more point this season to win the Premier League. At the same time, West Ham have won the league with the lowest amount of points since this save began. So in 14 years of this save, no team has won the league with 79 points before. Man City third, Man United third, Man City fourth. Newcastle and Brighton fulfil the rest of the European places, along with Chelsea. It is highly possible that Newcastle will get into the Champions League because of the coefficient rankings and whatever else. Brentford, Bristol City and Stoke have gone down. And yeah, it's been a mad season. It really has. If we have a look at our schedule, so just so you can see how we got on with the rest of our games as well. Since the 4th of January, we played Stockport in the FA Cup, third round, beat them 2-0. We had quite a rotated team there, as you can see from this lineup here. We then went on a bit of a losing run then. We lost 2-0 at home to Manchester City in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. We also lost the second leg to them 4-1, so that's a 6-1 win on aggregate for Man. I feel like they've done us. Was it in the Champions? Yeah, in the Champions League they've done a 7-1 last time in the round of 16, and then we also lost to Brighton in the middle of that. We then beat Aston Villa 3-1, a 1-0 win against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League group stage, a 1-0 win in the FA Cup fourth round at home against Chelsea, followed by a 0-0 draw at home to AC Milan. Again, we're playing at Parkside. I don't know how we're getting away with it when the minimum requirement is 8,000 seated, and we obviously only have 6,125. But at least we did sell the stadium out for that one. But then we had a little bit of a winning run with a 2-1 win against Newcastle at home, a 2-0 win against Leicester away. Then we was away against Tottenham and we won 3-0 there. Tanguy Trove, the only goal scorer in a 1-0 win away to Hull. Then at home we beat Bournemouth 3-2 with a 2-1 win away against Stoke. But then in the FA Cup fifth round we went out to Bournemouth. And now, bear in mind, we'd recently just beat them in the league as well. But Bournemouth actually have got to the Carabao Cup final. I don't know if they won it. I don't think they did. But we'll have a look at that in a moment. But yeah, we went out 1-0 to Bournemouth in the fifth round. We then lost 3-2 in the league against Manchester City. I'm getting fed up of Manchester City at this point. Then we went into the Champions League round of 16 and we lost the away leg 2-1 against Real Madrid, before drawing the home leg 2-2, going out 4-3 on aggregate. Compared to how we went out last season against Manchester City, to me that shows improvement. To go out 4-3 over two legs against Real Madrid, there is no shame in that. We beat Everton 1-0. We also beat Hull 4-1. We then beat Bristol City 2-1. Then we had a bit of and this has probably cost us the Premier League. Especially there, we lost 2-0 against West Ham. We'd been able to get a draw from that game, we would have ended up winning the Premier League. A 1-1 draw against Chelsea, a 1-0 defeat against Manchester United, a 2-2 draw against Liverpool, and then 2 wins to finish it, both 1-0 against Sunderland and Arsenal. And that is our season. If we have a look at the Carabao Cup and have a look at the final, Man City beat Bournemouth in the final of the Carabao Cup. If we have a look at the FA Cup, I don't know what way we have to go. There we go. I mean, Bournemouth are in the final of the FA Cup against Manchester City as well. This is amazing. Man City could do the cup double, but Bournemouth have got to 2 cup finals this year, despite the fact that in the Premier League, where did they finish? Quite low down, 15th in the Premier League, yet they've got to 2 cup finals. Mad. Look over here, past winners for the Premier League. Man City obviously had it 4 years in a row there. But West Ham for the last 2 seasons, they've also got the biggest stadium in English football. There's every possibility that West Ham are actually becoming the best team in English football. And that just seems crazy to me. If we have a look at our squad, at our numbers, Espirito Santo really faded off in the second half of the season. He's also dropped on his star rating as well. And as you can see, he didn't do as well as what he did last season. He only just squeezed the 7. Didn't get any assists this season, whereas he got 7 last season, as well as his 19 goals. But a goal involvement every other game is still pretty decent. Like I say, 6 million he cost us. In terms of Tanguy Trove, we've had a few issues with him because he's been wanting a new contract that I'm not prepared to give him because he wants crazy money. And he's been tremendous for us this season. 7.03, very consistent in terms of his rating, but 10 goals, 2 assists, 12 goal contributions in 28 games from our attacking left-sided midfielder is absolutely great. In terms of Anthony Geerts, if we have a look at him as well, again, very similar to last season. He's improved his average rating, 7 goals, 5 assists. He's been pretty decent as well. And Jörg Lorenzi, our central midfielder, still a wonder kid. He's only 20 years old, Swiss international. Yeah, Swiss international. And if we look at him, 8 goals, 8 assists. That's 16 goal contributions from 37 games, a 7.04. He's turning into a very decent player, he is. Value of 70 to 81 million is absolutely amazing. David Mudangura, he's been a surprise package this season. If we look at last season, he made 22 appearances last season, but every single one of them was from the substitutes bench. 33 appearances the season before, 18 of which were from the substitutes bench. This year, 33 appearances, all of which have been starts in the league. 6 goals, 5 assists, and he's been playing as a ball-winning midfielder. 7.08, that is his best season he's had with us. And bear in mind, he's been with us since the Championship, and I've just been astounded by how good David Mutangura has been. Sadly, he's probably going to be moving on in the summer if anyone's interested in him. He's not quite good enough for us. In terms of other players that will probably be moving on, if we have a look at the contract situation, Vankara will be going. He's 36 years old now, so he's going to be leaving on a free transfer. Steve Hunt may be leaving. Stuart Gill, well, Steve Hunt will be leaving. Stuart Gill might be leaving. Ewan Todd might be leaving. Neil Lovell probably will be leaving. We have a situation with the homegrown in nation type thing that we need to have. So we need to make sure we've got the players here that we need. In terms of the age profile, I'm hoping that some of these will qualify as under 21s next season. We've currently got in our squad, with Leroy Arias included in that squad as well, we have 26 players in there. So take out one for Leroy Arias, that's 25. If we then, what's happened to the contracts? Here we go. We then take out Vankara, which would be 24, Hunt, which would be 23. Leaves us the opportunity to keep these players if we want to. But it does then mean it's one out, one in from that position. So, yeah, a lot of work's going to be needed to be done in the summer, but you'll know all about that in the next episode. In terms of finances, 123 million in the bank. Our budgets have been set, 79 million transfer budget with 1.292 million in the wage budget. We can obviously move some of that about if we need to. In terms of dynamics, team cohesion is excellent, club atmosphere is excellent, managerial support is excellent as well. One thing I do also want to show you, I was meant to show you in part 2, but completely forgot about it. We have signed a legend, ZLATAN IBRAHOMOVIC, has joined Aveley. He's coming as a coach. Basically, we were maxed out for our coaching. We didn't need to bring him in. We didn't need any more coaches, but we still had slots available. I saw he was available and I was like, okay, do you know what? Just for the meme and also for the title of this video, I'm going to bring in that we've bought ZLATAN IBRAHOMOVIC. I mean, his adaptability, determination is incredible. His motivating is incredible. His technical is incredible. What does surprise me is he's a 10 for attacking and 14 for defending. I would have thought one of the greatest strikers world football has ever seen would have been better at attacking than defending. But it is what it is. So yeah, we have ZLATAN IBRAHOMOVIC here at Aveley. Thank you very much for watching, folks. That's going to be all for this video. I think it's been a bit of a shorter one than normal, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. Please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot when you do all that. Comment down below what you think of our season this year, and do you think we can win the Premier League next year? Do you think we will carry on progressing in the Champions League? Can we win a trophy? And will we get a new stadium? I've given up hope on that one. But thank you very much for watching, folks. I'll see you next Sunday for more of the Road to Glory stuff with Aveley. And obviously I'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. for the Bottoms Up series with Crystal Palace. That's getting good. It's been good all along, to be fair. Tune into it. Give that a like and a subscribe as well. And I'll see you next week for Aveley Road to Glory. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.